Hey, everybody. How are you, Allison?
I always want to do the jazz hands at the end of that intro.
You want to do jazz hands when you hear the song?
I do. Just the end of it. Like it's kind of groovy and then
Yeah. Uh, Welcome back, everybody. It's time for Live with Gotham Quilts again because it is Tuesday at 6:30. And this week, we are going to bring up a topic we already talked about. But the reason is because we're about to close signups. So today we're talking about the next retreat, which is our English paper piecing virtual retreat coming up in mid-September. Um, we always have to close signups early enough before the retreat happens so that we have time to receive the inventory and ship it to all of you. Because the retreat package comes with the goodies that you're going to need during the retreat. So for this retreat, the signups are going to close on Sunday at midnight. Are we doing midnight Eastern?
we can do midnight Eastern. Yep.
So you have until Sunday midnight to register if you haven't already. If you already have, thank you. And we're very excited. I think we have around 30 people registered. Is that right?
I think we're actually nearing 40. If we could get to 40, I think I'd sell.
Wonderful. It's so much more fun when there's more people because okay, so backing up. If you hadn't heard about our retreats before, the way we do it is we start on a Friday afternoon. We start at 4 o'clock and then we go on Saturday and we go on Sunday. So the schedule on Friday is 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Oh, and all these times are in Eastern time zone, like New York City time zone. So on Friday it's 4 to 10, Saturday it's 10 to 10, and then Sunday it's 10 to 3. Sometimes 3 goes to like 4, depending on what's happening. But we know that when you attend something like this, no one's going to sit and be there all the time, right? Like attendees are going to come and go. You're going to have breakfast, you're going to go run an errand, you're going to take a shower, whatever it is, right? We as hosts, one of us will be online the entire time. So between me, Allison, and Andrea, one of us will be online the whole time to, entertain you, and also possibly answer questions if you get stuck, that kind of thing. But the attendees, we know will come and go. So the more people have registered, the more people might be online at the same time. And that's way more fun because then you can show each other your projects, you can help each other, you can have conversations. In previous retreats, people like made friends, exchanged their social media handles, and like kept up with each other afterwards. And since this is a virtual retreat, you're meeting people from all over. Like we've had people attend from different countries or different states. And that's the beauty of virtual stuff. Right? You don't have to get dressed even really if you don't want to. You don't have to turn your camera on and like you want to sew in your underwear, that's fine. We don't mind. So I'm excited that we got so many people on. And this is like the transition retreat between like the old Gotham ownership and the new Gotham ownership. So all of us will be online. So you can get to know Allison, who I think you've gotten to know a lot since we've been doing these lives, and she's been chatting and everything. So everybody's getting to know you already, but we're going to have an even bigger chance to get to know you that weekend.
A big block. Now, I will say I am more of a night owl, so it worked out
Right.
perfectly to negotiate between
Yeah.
morning hours and night hours.
So in general, I used to do mornings and Andrea would do nights because I am useless after like 8:30. Like literally, I make no sense. And at some point, I call it I hit a wall. Like I will be, my body is like, okay, you have to go to bed now. Like I'm in bed usually like 9:30.
Mm.
It's like that's my normal going to bed time. And Andrea is like Allison. Andrea is like, what do you mean it's only the 11? Like
Mm-hmm.
I got energy now, right?
That's
Um,
right. I hit my stride at about 2, so I can't waste all that good
2
energy.
a.m.
No, no, 2 p.m. Like
Oh,
that's when
okay.
I peak, right?
Yeah. My friend Paul, I think, hits his stride at like 10 p.m. So
Oh,
like he has a really hard time doing like 9 to 5 because he doesn't want to go to bed till like 4
yep.
in the morning. Meanwhile, I'm in bed at 9:30. Like, yeah. So
You've been
anyway,
sleeping for hours at that point.
oh yeah, yeah. Like I I would make zero sense if I was up at that time. Like I'd be babbling probably.
So it works perfectly.
Oh, we got some night owls commenting in the
Woohoo, go night owls.
Oh, and somebody said, me too, Yvette, early to bed, early to rise.
You know, I found it's generally a pretty good mix, and I'm very pleased, Eileen, that you are on the night owl side.
Yeah, it's funny because people, do you know anyone who's like an in between? It seems to me like it's always like pretty drastic. Like you're a morning person or you're a night person, and never the twain shall meet.
I think the in between people might be just a little bit overshadowed by all the night owls in the early mornings. Like people have strong feelings about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So should we talk about what we're going to learn in this retreat?
Yes, that's one of the things that I'm, I would say, probably most excited about is the ability to use this retreat as a reference guide going forward. We are going to have, I think it was like 12 or 15 short-ish videos that walk through a particular part or technique of English paper piecing, all the way from the simplest, what kind of tools do you need, what makes a good English paper piecing tool, all the way to basting and stitching with curves. Fussy cutting is a great one too, and some of the things that will help you on your journey.
Right. So we used to, when we first started doing virtual retreats, we would do all the teaching live during the actual weekend. And then at some point we transitioned to pre-recording those videos and giving you access before the weekend starts, because we got feedback from some people that they really wanted to prepare. And this is not required by any means. You do not have to log in. Even you don't have to log in early. You don't have to watch the videos. You don't have to pre-cut. You don't have to read the book. If you want to do all those things, you're welcome to. And we've had people be like they watched everything, they pre-cut, and they showed up like ready to sew on Friday afternoon at 4:00. So for wherever you fall in that spectrum, we're good. We got you covered. You can watch ahead of time or you can not watch. Either way, it doesn't matter. We're going to be working off of this wonderful book that we found that is called English Paper Piecing, Exploring the Fussy Cut World. And it is by Florence Knapp, who goes by Flossy Tea Cakes. Well, used to go by Flossy Tea Cakes on the internet. And look how beautiful this EPP is on the cover. Like, this is part of what called to us with this book was like, look how beautiful, all the fussy cutting and it's just really nice. And the book
cover.
The
thing I noticed on that one is how you can barely see the stitches. That's one thing I look for in English paper piecing books and tutorials is how well can you see the stitches.
And put it as close as I can here. So you can see them, but you can see that something is stitched, but it doesn't look like thread, which is what you're trying to make it not look like pieces of thread, right? Yeah, she does beautiful work. You can look her up online. Her name is Florence Knapp, and she's got all these different things on the internet and patterns and downloads and stuff like that. But the book has a lot of history in it. It has sections about basically the background of English paper piecing, because it is one of the older techniques for quilting. And I mean, we're all modern quilters in general, but there isn't a lot that we do that didn't already, especially when you're talking about handwork, right? There isn't a lot that we do that was invented recently. It's all modern versions of old techniques. And English paper piecing is a very old technique where they used to use like newspapers, for example, because paper was very expensive in the past, right? Like you wouldn't use new paper for something like this that you were going to rip out and throw out, right? And now we're like in 2025, we do use new paper and we buy pre-cut shapes, and like that's the modern version of English paper piecing is like we have all these supplies available. We have glue for basting, right? It's faster now for sure, but the technique itself is pretty old. So in the book, there's a whole section on the history and some of the more famous English paper piecing projects. Some of it is more current, and it talks about current designers who are doing interesting things in English paper piecing. And then there's the how-to section. So the section that actually teaches you how to do the thing. I like how she has a whole section on fussy cutting, which is one of my favorite parts. I know Allison's a little intimidated by fussy cutting. You might try it that weekend though, right?
I have to, of course I will. Yeah. And I'm actually looking
really
forward to being surrounded by a community of encouraging people. So
Yeah.
if you see me fussy cutting, go ahead and give me an atta girl there.
Yeah. I mean, it is. When I first started doing fussy cutting, I was like obsessed because you can make things like this, where it's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a tessellation, kind of like,
Yeah.
you can make all these secondary designs and patterns and everything. It's really fun.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
yeah, we're going to learn from the beginning of English paper piecing. So if you've never done EPP before, you are welcome to join us. If you already have done EPP and you maybe never tried curves or you never tried fussy cutting, we're going to cover all of that too. So like wherever you fall on the spectrum of skills for EPP, you're going to have a ton of fun on the weekend, and there'll be something for everybody.
Gotcha. I love that we've got a comment here. Fussy is great.
I was looking at the comment right above that said that she was driving across country and she logged in from her car in the last one.
Now, if I kind of remember, Kathy, maybe I'm thinking of someone else, but your sister was driving, right? You weren't driving. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to do was make sure that not only this retreat is fun and educational, but that you have a little smattering of all the tools you need to get started. So as Yvette was saying, we are starting with the English paper piecing book, which it looks like mine is also backwards, but it's a great book. We're also giving you, I'll start with this because it's next on my list. I'll go really quick, a little surprise. I can't tell you what it is, but there's going to be a little surprise that we're putting together for you.
Oh, yeah, she told me what the surprise is. I have to say it's better than the surprises we used to throw in. It's an upgrade. So be excited.
We got to go big for our first retreat together. So we want to make this memorable.
Like our surprises were usually like a pattern and some chocolate or something along those lines. Hers is better.
But I'm not going to tell anyone.
No, it's a surprise.
It's secrecy.
Surprise. Yeah, surprise.
We're also going to give you a smattering of different English paper pieces. So you don't have to cut them out. You're going to get some pieces together so that you can make a thing. And what we've done is we've designed these packages with enough of the pieces to actually make something. So here you've got the 1-inch hexies. And Kathy says, yes, her sister was driving. You are going to get 21 of these paper pieces. And so that, yep. And we've got the template as well.
Oh, are we getting that kind, not this kind?
We're getting this kind.
Okay.
Yep. And so what this is going to be used for is you can use this to mark out the shape of your fabric to wrap around your paper pieces. You can also use this to get real fussy with it in that you can perfectly line up your design here and then trace around the side and cut out your fabric so you get exactly that piece of fabric that you want. So we're going to make sure that you have one of these so that you can practice that fussy cutting. We have these little guys here, and these ones are the elongated hexagons. And I will pull one of these out so you can, we're killing. Well, we certainly aren't intending to kill anyone, that's for sure.
Yeah, we got a comment. You guys are killing me. And I wrote back in the good way, right?
Of course, of course. So here we've got the elongated hexagon. Now, you will notice that some of these are brown and some of these are white. It doesn't really matter. It's just the different color of paper here. They're the same thickness and they work the same no matter what the color is. So you've got your 1-inch elongated hexagons, and here you get 24 of those. So perfect size to make a little motif with that. And the thing we're all waiting for, the curves. Who doesn't love curves? So you are going to get 25 of these 2-inch clamshells. The 1-inch was probably a little bit too small for this, but I already know what I'm going to make mine into, and that's going to be a zipper pouch. I'm going to make my clamshells into a zipper pouch. So you'll have these to practice your curved basting and piecing together. In addition, one of, I would say, the most lovely things about this book, and forgive me as I'm trying to find the page here, is, I had it marked and then I moved on to something else, are the rosettes. Now, you will recall, like from the cover here, we've got one of those rosettes over here, but there's 3 different kinds. You will get paper pieces to make 2 of these. So here's one of them. What I love about this is not only is it an opportunity to practice that fussy cutting and get super cute with it, but it's the opportunity to put different shapes together. I'm going to learn how to stitch those together and get that practice. Yep. So I showed you one of them, and here's the other one. So you'll be able to make 2 full rosettes, and those come out to between 8 and 10 inches in diameter, depending on what side you're looking at.
Do you want me to share that so we can see it better?
Yeah, sure.
So this is
Am I holding it up shakily? Wasn't
well, the paper, but you can't see what you're making, right? So this is the page on the website with the retreat. Ignore this price. For some reason, it thinks I'm in Australia. That is the price in Australia. But this is what the rosettes look like. So you're going to get all the pieces needed to make this rosette, whose name I do not remember, and all the pieces to make this rosette. And we have a couple of add-on options available. So if you wanted to get more of any of those things, if you scroll down, you'll see all the things that we think would be cool that you might want to add. So if you don't already own some of these supplies, like for example, a glue stick, you can pick them up by just scrolling down and shopping from down here. And I just realized I should add that thing with the bobbins to this list of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do that over here.
Yeah, we'll show you, talk about that. But yeah. The other thing is a great opportunity to pick up, especially if you're going to get fussy with these rosettes, you can get the templates for these pieces as well. Now, these aren't super unique sizes. So dollars to donuts, you're going to reuse those templates for something else, but it'll be really handy, especially if you're making multiple rosettes, just a little bit, save yourself some heartburn.
Yeah.
The other thing is we designed, or one of the more appealing things about this particular retreat is that you don't need a whole lot else.
That's the point. Yeah.
That you probably have this in your sewing room at home. So in addition to the things that we're providing for your retreat, the bare minimum, all you need to provide is some fabric that you like or love, needle, and thread.
I'm pointing at my own stash of fabric behind me.
Do you think our quilters have some fabric?
I don't think anyone's going to have a problem finding fabric.
No. No, I don't think so. So let's talk about those pieces that you probably already have in your sewing room. Fabric, I think, is self-explanatory, right? It might also be nice to have some fabric handy that has some motifs that you think, I wonder if this would be a good fussy cut candidate.
Yeah.
So have a variety handy with you. The other thing is needles. Now, the needles that you need, I would not say are specialized in any way. Any hand sewing needle that you like to use will work just fine. Yeah. There are a couple of things.
You don't want a real thick one.
No, right. There are a couple of things that'll make a better needle than others. One is a nice thin needle. Now keep in mind when you're stitching things together, your goal is just to get a couple of threads on each side of your pieces together. So the smaller and I would say sharper your needle, the easier it can be. Yeah. I am a big fan of the Milner's needles, or they're also called straw needles. This is a good variety pack. I could show you, you know what a needle looks like, and I don't know how well it will show up on camera. But this is a variety pack. It comes in size 8, 9, and 10. And what I loved about this when I was really just getting into paper piecing is I could try out the different needle to see which one I like the best. Now, I have definitely settled on a needle that is my favorite, but these are also nice and thin. That's another thing to look for when you get those needle packs at home. I'm sure everybody has them where you've got probably 50 different needles in a pack and they're all different sizes and shapes. Go for something that is equal. The eye is equal width as the actual needle.
It makes it easier to sew through if you think about what an embroidery needle looks like, it's like straight and then it's got a big eye, right? Because embroidery thread is pretty thick. You don't want that because that big eye is going to be hard to use when you're trying to sew teeny little stitches that don't show, right? On embroidery, you're stitching a decorative stitch. In this application, you're trying to stitch a invisible stitch, right? So very opposite kind of a. I usually use an applique sharp. My favorite ones are the clover coated ones, because I find that I don't have good hands, right? So my hands get tired. My hands get slightly less tired. Also, I'm allergic to nickel, and the coating I feel like makes that allergy less bad. Because if you didn't know, if you're allergic to nickel, every sewing needle is made of nickel. So
I know that.
Yeah. If you're allergic to nickel, some people are like super allergic to nickel and then they can't hand sew at all because every needle is made of nickel. But yeah, so the coated kind, you're not really touching the nickel. You're touching this like rubbery kind of coating. I can find one. Do you know which needle I mean?
I know of the needle. I also know that oh yeah.
They look like. These are my favorites.
And you size 10, am I reading that right?
Yeah, so I really buy size 10 for needle turn applique, because on needle turn applique, you're trying to make even more invisible stitches than in this, right? And this is the best size for the needle turn, and I just use the same one for EPP. But yeah, I buy these in like packs of 5 because you bend them or you lose them because they're so teeny, right? So yeah, or at least I lose them.
Yes, indeed. So chances are really good that you've got a needle that will fit the bill in your sewing.
Yeah, if you don't have a lot of different kinds of needles, whatever needle you have is probably fine unless it's very thick.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want that tapestry needle for this one.
No, and those are super dull too. This doesn't even the point yet.
Yes, indeed. That's probably the opposite. The other thing is thread. Now, for this one, what I would recommend, what I kind of like about this is when you're joining your pieces together, fresh cotton thread works really well. Some people even use polyester. What you don't want to use is an old cotton thread. It's too likely to break. However, I've got a use for that. If you've got an old cotton thread or a thread that's like this really ridiculous color that you're never going to use again, it's a great use for thread basting. So you can still use that thread. You just don't want it to join your pieces together.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So probably any thread will look great. The more neutral or the more blendy the color, the better off, because again, you are hand stitching. And so to make those stitches even more invisible, a nice blendy color thread. Another thing that I love to hedge my bets is, you probably can't even see this, but I've got a spool of 80 weight thread here. It's nice and thin. This one is cotton, 100% cotton from Aurifil, but you can see how very thin that is. Just a little spider's web of a thread. I also love these little bobbin cases. So if you've seen those pre-wound bobbins, this one is fabulous because it's got all the different colors. Isn't that pretty?
I mean, I kind of want to buy that just because it's so pretty. You know how much thread I own, but like, that's really pretty.
It is really pretty. It's very portable, and I love it because this is also 80 weight. This is polyester, so it works just as well, a little bit stronger because it's polyester. It's not going to snap. But I get all the different colors, so no matter what piece I'm working on, I've got a color to match. Now, this might be a little excessive. Truly, just to reemphasize, the goal is for you to use the things that you've got in your house to give this a go. If you're getting into English paper piecing, this might be the next little splurge.
And this is also very good for needle turn applique if you're going to be doing applique.
It sure is.
Yeah. I usually, for EPP, I usually don't match my color because I just don't have the patience. And so what I'll usually pick is like a pale gray. Yeah. In Aurifil, it's either 2600 or 2800.
2600 is the Dove gray. That is probably the most popular I've seen.
I find that it just like blends no matter what color you put it on. So like if you use white, it can sometimes show up if you have darker fabric. And like obviously if you use black, it would show up if you were on lighter fabric. So if you pick somewhere in the middle, that usually blends better.
Yes. Now, what weight do you usually use, Yvette?
Whatever I can find that is accessible to my hand. But ideally, I would use 80 weight because it makes it so much easier to not see your
stitches. Yeah. 50 weight works really well.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't go to like a 12 weight or a 40
right.
weight.
No, that's the opposite of where you want to do, right? That would be for decorative, not for
right.
Yep.
Can you imagine English paper piecing with a tapestry needle and some 12 weight thread?
You know what's funny is that I think I showed the like hexies that I was sewing. Let me find it again. This was my first project. Here, this. My very first EPP project, which this is like 15 years old and it's only this big, right? We evacuated for Hurricane Sandy, whatever year that was. And this is what I brought with me to sew. But I forgot that the basting thread I was using was like a 40 weight bright pink. So yeah, can you see the stitches that are bright pink? And yeah, I actually think it's easier to see it on the back. So yeah, the center of this was pieced with thick pink thread.
It's definitely a look. I mean,
it's the whole thing is pink, so the pink, blends more. But yeah, not ideal. And then at some point, I changed to a normal thread, and those look way better on the outside.
Go figure. Well, so those are the only must-haves, right? Is the needle and the thread, and we've already talked about fabric. There are definitely some things that will make your life easier. And nope, I just did that.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I didn't do that.
It's a perfect segue into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is needle threaders. Now, a needle threader will always make everything easier, period, end of story. And I can say that as a person who is of an age where my eyesight is not as great as it used to be. But especially when you're dealing with smaller needles with smaller eyes, a needle threader is always appreciated. And this one is really just whatever needle threader makes your heart happy. This one I like because it's a little desk one. You sit in on your desk, you put your needle in this hole here, you lay your thread down, and then you push down on this little lever, and it threads your needle for you. Now, this is probably a little fancier than most people need, and it's not the most portable thing. Like, it takes up some room in my sewing case, but it's super cute.
It works, yeah.
Yep. It works without fail. I also love that it has a little thread cutter here, so I don't need to bring an extra pair of scissors. I just chonk it down.
For some reason, the thread does not want to appear where I need it to appear. It's just like using to go over there.
Well, I'm sure eventually it will find its way home. But we've got to keep the thread with the English paper piecing. I think that's, I don't know that I'd ever need that in my actual bobbin. It really just for English paper piecing. So, some other things we talked about, I'll talk very briefly about thimbles. Now, we had an entire show last week on the different kinds of thimbles, how they're used, what we like about them. I will spoil it for you. Our favorite kind of thimble is this little sticker. Oh, look, there's the thimble pack. If you want to get a little smattering of a bunch of different kinds of thimbles to figure out which one is your favorite, go ahead and pick up that thimble pack. I will say that you get a free little bonus present in there in the Beetle Needle Threader. So that'll take care of two of the helpful things all at one time. And it lights up. It's super cute. So if you want more information on thimbles, go ahead and watch our last Live at Gotham Quilts, and we talk all about these. But these are just a little sticky pad. It is pure leather. It's relatively thick. I'm going to say probably 1/8 of an inch. Maybe just a little bit less than that. And it sticks wherever you would use your thimble.
It worked. That was the face I made when I got it to work.
That was the it worked phase. Okay. So these, we love them. They're thimble pads. They are part of the thimble pack if you want to give them a shot. But otherwise, whatever thimble you like to use will help for any of that hand sewing.
Glue stick. Yeah.
A glue stick. Now I think I
prefer glue basting at this point. Like this one, I had thread basting because I never even heard of glue basting when I was making this. But once I found out about glue basting, I never went back. So
yeah,
glue basting.
It is really quick. It's especially good, especially with those fussy cut pieces when you don't want them to move. But you know, some people swear by thread basting. I swear by glue basting.
Yeah, the biggest complaint I've heard about glue is that you have to keep buying more.
You do
for thread too. Like you aren't going to reuse the thread you used to baste, right? So like,
I would hope not. Yeah. I mean, I will say candidly, the glue is a little bit more expensive than the thread.
For sure. Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I am paying for my comfort, and I will spend that money every day. Yeah. Now,
you have a multicolor pack.
I do have a multicolor pack, and let's have a little conversation about this. Now, we've got there have been so many conflicting, I'm going to call them opinions on this. For this particular brand, the glue colors are yellow. This one is the blue glue, even though it has a white cap, and then pink glue. Now, do you have a preference between the colors, and what drives your preference?
I have never used anything but blue, and I couldn't explain why. In fact, when we realized that, when we were closing, I ordered a bunch of stuff for myself so I wouldn't run out. Look how much blue glue I have.
That is so much blue glue.
Because for anyone who doesn't know, when we buy stuff wholesale, we can't buy one of these things. They come in a pack depending on how the manufacturer sells them. So like sometimes if you were going to order something, you got to buy 12 of them, or you got to buy 6 of them, or you got to buy 24 of them, depending on what the thing is. So this is like the minimum wholesale that you can buy of the thing. And then I just bought them all myself because eventually I'm going to use this.
Eventually you are. So here's my hot take on the glue. It doesn't really matter.
What color? No, it doesn't matter.
Some people swear that there are differences in the glue. I do not agree with that necessarily.
The thickness or the stickiness, or what kind of difference?
No. The yellow glue is really bright. Okay. And so some of this depends on what color, I will say what color your papers are, not necessarily what color your fabric is. If you're working with like a brown paper, the yellow might show up just a little bit better. If you're reusing, like some people will take junk mail, kind of that cardstock thing, and this one is super bright and will show up on just about anything. The blue is just kind of a nice all-purpose. I would say like the yellow I found maybe gets a little, I'll call it gloopy, but that's not, I don't mean a negative connotation here. It's just a little stickier from the outset. Okay. Is what it is. So something tells me that has to do with the color that goes in there. Now, all of these dry clear, right. So ultimately it doesn't really matter. But I say there's no difference. I like this because I like variety. And sometimes I just want to use a different color.
Yeah, and I mean, you have, to be clear, if you have like a regular Elmer's glue stick or whatever that brand is, that's fine too. It doesn't need to be even the colorful one. They do make the regular glue stick in like a purple. And the reason they do that is so that you can see where you put the glue right before it dries. When it dries, it dries clear. You can absolutely use just a normal glue stick. I'm pretty sure I have, so like this is definitely going to be cheaper than the nice glue that we use for quilting. But the reason we have this nice glue is because it's so much thinner, right? Yeah. So one of the tricks, let me get my glue stick here. Oh, maybe it's not here.
You have all that glue, but no glue stick.
I mean, I know it's got to be around here. Oh, it is right here. I was just looking in the exact right place. So the difference between the diameter of the nice one and the diameter of, this is a small glue stick, like regular school glue stick, right? When you're using glue, one of the tricks is to use as little glue as will hold your fabric on, because the more glue you use, the more annoying it's going to be at the end when you have to pull off all of the fabric and all of the papers, right? So having a teeny one makes it a lot easier to just put a teeny dab of glue everywhere you need it and not end up with like a big glob of glue that then dries really hard and then you have to like really peel. It's, you know, so that's why we promote this essentially fancier glue stick. It's worth it.
I would say it is, yeah, especially if you're going to do any amount of glue basting. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I've seen people using glue for other kinds of basting way more recently, like basting like the hem of a skirt, for example, with glue, which is not something I noticed in the past, but I think it's part of like there's this movement of younger people getting into sewing and getting into remaking and stuff like that, and they're always trying to find shortcuts and like it makes sense to some extent, but it's interesting. Like in general, you think of this thing as being only for English paper piecing, but it can be for any kind of basting that you would have done with thread, or even like something that you would pin based. You could theoretically use a glue like this because it isn't permanent. So once it dries, you can pull the thing apart again.
Yes. So glue basting is definitely one of my favorite things about English paper piecing. And I'm not going to lie, this might be my favorite part of the project, is just sitting there making all the pieces.
Basting?
Basting them.
Oh, yeah. Me too. 100%. You want to see how many of those pink ones I have?
Oh my gosh.
This is how many basted pink hexagons I have.
Yeah.
And this is how many I've joined together. Like, I bet there's more in here than in there.
Could be. So the other thing that would be helpful on your journey, and I can almost guarantee you've got something in your house to do this, is clips or pins. Now, these work well to clip your pieces together. And I'm going to, forgive me for a second, I'm going to go grab some pieces that I have to show you how they clip together. Okay, I'll just bring it there. I have a project that I brought with me here. So when you're sewing your pieces together, so these have been glue basted and they're ready to go. When you're sewing your pieces together, you will need to hold them. Now, there's a couple of different ways that you can sew them, and we'll go through those ways in the video. But probably the most common is to line them up along an edge like this, and then just whip stitch them together. So in order to avoid hand cramps, you do want to clip them somehow. So you can see my sewing clips work well. They work just fine. Now they might get in the way of my thread. My thread might get caught up in here. So these aren't probably, I'd say, the most common one, but I can guarantee you we all have a handful of these in our sewing room. Another option are these magnetic pins that are made specifically for, I bet you've got a couple of these. They're made specifically for English paper piecing.
This is what I like the best. Yeah.
The triangle ones. These ones are super strong. And right. So I find that they work really well to get through, we're talking 4 layers of fabric, 2 layers of glue, 2 layers of paper. They hold it all together really quite nicely. Sometimes they're a little hard to get apart, but once they're on, they're on.
Yeah, so this brand, they're called Sew Tights, and I love those ladies. They're coming up with some really cool tools for quilters that are all magnet based. The add-on item that we added to the retreat is actually for this one, which is the Libs Elliott version. And the reason I picked this one is because it's teeny weeny. So even if you have a very small EPP piece, you can still use it. And also, this is one of their light magnets. So what Allison was just saying about sometimes they can be hard to pull apart. This one is less strong than the one she's showing. So for people like me who have problems with their hands, it's easier to pull this apart than it is to pull the normal sew tight apart. So the sew tight has like a line. All of their, do they call them pins technically?
I don't think I have the package, but I
think
feel
they
like
just call them sew tights, like as if
Yeah.
that was a word for
like a Kleenex kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly. So like their standard sew tights are the strength that the 1 Allison is showing, and then they have a line that's called lights, LITE, and it means less hard to pull apart.
They also have, if you're going the other way, this is the HD. This is the mom. Oops.
Oh, that's even stronger?
This is even stronger.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So if you've got something really thick that you're putting together, there's basically a sew tight for whatever you're working on.
Yeah, I saw that they have a new one that's meant for loading your quilt on a long arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are doing some great things over at Sew Tight.
They really have come up with some cool new tools. Yeah. I got did I show you that I got their rotating rotary cutter?
Yeah, with the magnets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Ooh. How much do you love it?
Do you know I haven't used it? I unpacked it and put it on my desk and never used it.
Wow. Well, I think the retreat is going to be a perfect time to break that out and cut your piece.
Oh, I could use. So I'm doing the video on fussy cutting, and I could definitely use a rotating cutting mat when I'm cutting. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, are you ready for a little secret?
Yes.
I did not come up with this idea, but I saw it. I love it. I'm going to share it with all of our friends here. Another pin option are these little knobbers here.
Oh, what are those?
These are hijab pins, and they are meant to affix like a hijab to itself so that it doesn't fly off. These are super strong magnets, and what I like about them is that they are really tiny. And so what you get is you get the size of the Libs Elliott one that you found, but the strength of any of these sew tights.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're looking for, these work really well. They are, maybe about 1/2 inch wide, and they come apart just like that.
That's cool. I never even heard of that before.
Yeah, and they work really well to hold your pieces together, just like any of the sew tights. So those are another option. Now, you may or may not have these laying around your house, but either way, lots of different ways that you could get the hijab pins.
And if you don't have any of these fancy things, you just hold it with your fingers. It's fine.
Absolutely. Another thing to consider are little applique pins. They're like 3/4 of an inch long, and they can hold your things together. However you hold it together is how you hold it together. Yes, and speaking of holding it together, I think I just found the rest of my hijab pins. They all kind of stuck together, as magnets are wont to do.
Yeah, like all of these just sit like that all the time. Yeah.
At least they all stay together. Really nice.
It's easy to find them. They're all stuck to each other.
They sure are. So those are, and then of course, there are other tools that you might want to consider. One of the ones that you'll see on the website is and this is going to be real compelling television here, is the palette. This is also from the Sew Tight. And so we had mentioned that we'll talk about a couple of different ways to piece your fabrics together, your paper pieces together.
Can you hold it up again?
I sure can. I was going to put some pieces on here, but now I need to get my pins all in a row. My ducks in a group here. Okay, so let's put these together, and then I will hold it up again. So I mentioned the whip stitch, which is super common and super easy and approachable. This is another option. It's a kidney bean shape, and it's thin, flexible plastic that you can pin your items to, and it'll keep them lined up like this. So you can see this is the back of my project here. You can also do, I think it's called flat back stitching,
right,
where you just stitch it this way as opposed to right sides together and whip stitch. Now we've got them lined up, them butted up, and then we can just stitch across there.
Cool.
So this palette, this little kidney bean here, this plastic kidney bean, is a great option to help out with that.
Yeah, I remember. So I put that in the add-on items because
Yes.
I saw the video for this that the So Tights ladies. This is also made by So Tights, by the way. The video that they used when they launched this thing made me want to buy one, and then I got distracted and I never ordered it. And then when I was looking for stuff to put in the add-ons here, I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy one of those, and like. So I haven't used it yet, but mine is on the way, and I'm going to try it, and I'll probably do a video on it because I think it probably will help your hand not be so tired from.
Yes. Yeah. Because look at how my hand is here. It's
right.
spread out. It's not stretched. There's 3 different sizes. This one is the medium of the size. There's one size smaller and one size larger. But look at how spread out and comfortable my hand is here, as opposed to, I'll take these guys. If I were sewing these together, for example, I'd have to pinch this together and hold my tight to sew it. So really great, a fabulous, accessible product for if you need to kind of loosen up your hands. And veil pins might be, yeah, I would say try whatever you've got. This is meant to be a really approachable project where you don't need a whole lot of specialized stuff, even though I'm selling you a whole bunch of specialized stuff.
Right. So whenever we design retreats, we always choose sort of the basic thing that you're going to need, and that goes in everybody's package, right? So in this round, you get the book, you get a sample of English paper piecing pieces, and then you get the acrylic template for fussy cutting on a 1-inch hexagon. Those are sort of like the basics, right? And then we have all these extra things that you can add on if you choose to. So if you want to make more than one of that rosette, one of the rosettes, you could buy a pack that has 6 of them. Or if you want to fussy cut your rosettes, you can buy the acrylics that go with that rosette. Or you can, like all these things we've been showing you, these are additional things that we believe in and that we love, and we think you'll love too. But they're all optional. That's why they're called add-on items. There's a 10% discount on all of them because they're additional items for the retreat. But you don't have to buy any of them if you don't want to.
No.
It's completely optional. You need a book and you need some papers. That's about it.
That's about it. Yeah. The rest you got.
Everybody gets the same package, although if you already own the book, you can pick to get a bundle of fabric instead of the book. So basically, everyone needs the book. If you already own the book, you're not going to want a second copy, so you can choose the bundle option instead. But everybody gets the same packages. Everybody gets the book or the bundle and the paper pieces and the template. And that's the standard pack.
And the surprise.
And the surprise.
Now, if you've already registered for the English paper piecing retreat, and you have decided after watching us talk about these things a little bit more in depth that you wanted to add any of these onto your purchase, now just know that you will get your shipping fee refunded. Your retreat already qualified you for free shipping. If you're adding something on now, the system will charge you for shipping if you're getting it shipped and you don't meet that minimum, but it will be refunded if you've already registered for the retreat.
And it'll all ship together in the same.
And it'll all ship together. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk about the timing of this. So our retreat will be the weekend of September 19th. So that's the Friday, all the way through the 21st. Early in September, all of these items will ship to you so that you will have them in time for that Monday before the retreat, September 15th. That is when the videos will be opened up. So you'll have your packet in hand with your book and your paper pieces, and you'll have access to the community site with those videos so that you can get ready and watch those videos ahead of time if you care to.
Yeah, if you're an overachiever.
If you are. So that I think we've got it for the English paper piecing retreat. As always, let us know in the comments if you have any questions. We do monitor them. It probably won't get as fast a response as when you're commenting live here, but just leave us a comment. We do get those and get notified when someone leaves a comment.
Somebody just signed up.
Yay!
Yay!
It's going to be a fabulous weekend, and I can't think of a better way to kind of blend New Gotham and Old Gotham together with a group. Now, there are a handful of Tiny Apple people who will be joining the retreat as well. So it's just,
we get to meet new people.
Exactly. It'll
Is
be
your mom coming? I can't remember if you told me your mom was coming.
Heck yes, she is. My mom will be there.
Yeah. So I did we talk about this in the last meeting or in the last call? Allison's mom is a quilter too. So that's awesome.
It is. And speaking of my mom, she joined us for her first ever Stitch Lab.
Oh, right. That's when we talked. Yes.
That's when we talked about it. So Stitch Lab is, I would call it like a really fun quilting guild without the
guild.
Without the guild. What I love about this is each month there is a challenge prompt where we've got a theme on a particular project. And the reason I wanted to bring this to you guys here in the kind of our housekeeping section is I'm really excited about this month's theme, and that is wearables. Now, I'm not talking like a full-on garment. You don't have to make a blouse or a pants, but we quilters, we want to show off the things that we do. And there are only so many different ways to show off a quilt. So one of the things that we love at Tiny Apple are things that are wearable. We've got our quilted sneakers class. So you get to bring a little bit of that fun quilter energy out into the public. And I tell you what, everyone's going to stop you and say how cool your shoes are. That's for sure. We also do like bucket hats and vests and jackets and totes and things like that. So whatever you think is whatever is wearable to you.
Yeah. So when we do the members of Stitch Lab are who pick the challenges every month. So basically, whoever comes to the meeting gets to participate and talk. Like people that just pitch ideas, like, "Oh, I saw this cool technique," or I've always wanted to try trapunto or whatever it is, right? And then we talk about it and we decide as a group that this is going to be the challenge. So this month, somebody suggested we've never done something around wearability, like maybe that could be a theme. And everybody who makes something for each theme, you can interpret it however you want. We've even had people like 1 month, the theme was like neon or something like that. And the person did the opposite because she really didn't like whatever that was. So, she used neon as the inspiration and didn't use neon at all. But it was still the prompt for the thing that she made, right? The goal with Stitch Lab is to grow as quilters and artists of whatever kind you are. So if you're not a quilter, but you are a crocheter, you could still come. Or if you're mostly somebody who does embroidery or cross stitch, that's fine too. And we try to make the challenges be broad enough that no matter what your craft is, whatever kind of stitching you're doing, you could still apply it to that. So a lot of times there'll be like artistic concepts like negative space, or one of my favorite one was make gray pop. So it's like gray is usually used as like a background or a shadow, right? So the idea was like, could you make gray be the thing that is the attraction in the piece that you're making? People make everything from one block to a little swatch to a pair of slippers, or whatever piques your interest, whatever inspires you. And then when we meet, we show off what we made and we talk about it and give feedback, and you can ask questions, or it's a lot of fun.
It's a lovely community. Yeah. So the meetings are once a month. They are, Yvette, help me out there, the third
I was not ready for that question.
Sorry, I completely caught her off guard.
Hold on, because it was last week on Thursday, right?
So that would be the second Thursday.
Second Thursday of the month? Okay.
Second Thursday of the month. They are in the evening Eastern time. So, hopefully, make a little time in the evening for your quilty friends. Actually, and I should say stitchy friends, because that's another thing that is so lovely about Stitch Lab is it's really very inclusive. And you don't have to be a quilter that the prompts are general enough to be interpreted by whatever your stitchy
Any kind of stitching.
Is at the moment.
So we meet the second Thursday of the month at 7 o'clock Eastern time. And the meetings usually last about an hour, but we've had time, like the more people who come, the more fun we have. And for sure, if more people come, then we end up hanging out longer because, you get to know each other, you chat, you're checking in from last month. And like when the dog had all the puppies, like every meeting was about the puppies. At least the first like 15 minutes was like, show us the puppies, so yeah, it's a community,
I love it. We're running probably a little bit over here, longer than we normally talk.
Almost an hour. We've been.
You get us going on English paper piecing, and that's what happens.
I think the two of us like to talk.
That is a true fact. Our next thread talk is coming up, and that is going to be September 2nd. I did not have the dates handy.
Almost like,
can you believe that? It's banana pants. I'm so sorry. So our next thread talk is going to be Rebecca Cartwright. And Rebecca will be talking about her not so inspirational story in the quilt. So her quilts are going to be telling the story of her life and her transition into someone who is living, with a disability, who has changed her quilting, how she goes about quilting. And spoiler alert, I've seen her Instagram, didn't stop her at all. She's made some really beautiful stuff. So it's just important to remember. And then lastly, of the housekeeping items, you might have seen in the email that Jen Kingwell's new book, Gathered, is available for pre-order. Now, this one will be shipping out in October. And so if you want to make sure you get your copy, this is going to be a lovely celebration of both quilting and recipes. We've got the quilts from Jen in that lovely style that is so hers. And you please go look at the listing for this one and look through the quilts that are part of this book. You're going to get patterns and templates. They're beautiful. There's also a couple of pictures and recipes, which are also beautiful. So it's going to be a celebration of quilts from Jen and recipes from her family. So you get a little bit of all the things that make gathering together great.
I really like that one medallion quilt that's got a picture. That's a good one.
Is that the one on the bed?
With all the different Haskell triangles. Yeah. Here, I'll show it. This one.
Oh, that one.
I really like that one.
That is very cool.
And I don't know if you wrote the pattern to use like a 8 at a time half square triangle, but that's definitely what I would do if I had to make this many half square triangles, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's going to be a fabulous book. Pre-order your copy now. It's being delivered in October, so pretty soon here.
Yeah, that's a good book. Do you know how many pages it is? It seems like that the last one was pretty big, that book.
That is a good question. I want to say like 106, but I don't know why I think that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that looks like a great book.
Yeah, beautiful. If nothing else, it could be just the world's prettiest coffee table book. Even if you don't make any of the quilts.
The photography looks really good, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I'm going through all the pictures again.
Okay, well then maybe we should wrap her up for today. Let everyone go through the pictures as well. It has been lovely talking with you, Yvette, about English paper piecing. I thank you so much for all the great comments that we've seen and your additions. We cannot wait to see you on the English paper piecing retreat. So we will see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yep. And don't forget that if you're thinking about signing up for the retreat, you have until Sunday to do so. And then we're going to turn it off. No more signups at that point because we have to order the supplies and get your packages ready. And, like those packages that Allison showed, they don't come like that when we order them wholesale. They come in a big bag and we have to sort through them and bag them. And there's some effort on our side before we connect it to you. So that's why we have to close off signups so that we can have time to package and ship your packs so that, you have till Sunday to decide if you're going to come join the fun.
Indeed. And I really hope you do. So we'll see you next Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern for the next Live with Gotham Quilts.
And we don't know what we're going to be talking about yet. We'll figure it out.
It'll be a surprise.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.